Conference Championships for Division I, Outdoor Track and Field, is the only meet on the schedule where we know that every team is going to compete close to their absolute best. That also means that you can't really judge how good any athlete is until you see what they do at their conference meet. Simply put, it doesn't matter how fast you are if you can't do it when the lights are on and it's time to perform. So to be honest with you, I expected a whole bunch of fireworks out there on the track for all the athletes in D1. And let me tell you, they did not disappoint. But I also know that ESPN is likely not going to tell you much about anything that actually went down, especially if it wasn't in the SEC conference. So until they decide to tell us in a box score or something about what actually happened in a track meet that they were televising themselves, I guess you're stuck with me. So here are just some of the highlights from conference championship weekends across all of Division I, because some of the best athletes in the world were competing. They just happened to be wearing college uniforms. And I'm also not going to say anything about the SEC, because with all the collegiate leaders they have in that conference, I figured they deserve their own video anyway. I also apologize in advance for any and all performances that I left out. But remember, I'm rattling this all off from memory. Kalen Walker of Iowa started off the outdoor season as the collegiate leader in the 100-meter dash. But at the Big Ten Conference meet, he led their 4x1 team to a conference championship victory. But he also only got third in the 100-meter dash, behind Devin Augustine of Minnesota, who is now ranked inside the top 5 for the entire NCAA. The Hawkeyes were projected to win the conference title, but with moments like this, Nebraska instead scored a whole bunch of points in the field events on the way to winning the conference title, not the least of which was Tyus Wilson's new collegiate lead in the high jump, because he went 7 feet 6 inches. But if you're new here, I have to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best high school track and field recruits in the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comments section, because I try to read them all. But Brandon Green Jr. of Oklahoma won the triple jump in the Big 12, which validated his collegiate lead in the event. But it was actually the Texas Longhorns who ended up winning the entire conference. And yes, that is a big deal, because both of those teams are now moving to the SEC. And it was also a pretty big upset, because Terrence Jones and Texas Tech did not look anything like the team that just won the NCAA indoor title. But all the way out in the ACC, Nathan Mountain of Virginia won the 3K steeplechase, which validated his collegiate lead. But for the record, that was the only open event that the Virginia Cavaliers won in the ACC. And it didn't matter, because they still emerged on top. The athletes were doubling all over in that meet, because Justin Lincoln did it for Virginia Tech in the sprints, and Jeremiah Davis did it for Florida State in the jumps, and even Parker Wolf did it for UNC in the distance events. But none of that really mattered, because Virginia still racked up enough points to become the ACC champions. But you also have to admit that the Pac-12 championship was special, because this was the last time we were ever going to see that meet happen. Conference realignment decimated that conference. Kai Robinson went out on top, doubling in the distance events for Stanford. But as far as the team title goes, none of that actually mattered, because Washington won the team title, and I'm not even sure they won any single event outright. But beyond the big name conferences, there were still a lot of fireworks, not the least of which occurred out in the big sky, because Northern Arizona University lost the team title. I'm not making this up. Montana State took them out. You've got to put some respect on their names, because Nico Young still won the 5K, and Colin Solomon also doubled in the other distance events. And it didn't matter, because Montana State beat them by 1 point when it was all done. Just consider that NAU finished number 2 overall for all of Division I indoor for team net rating, and they still lost. That is a credit to Montana State. And in case you weren't paying attention, Aaron Brown led Grand Canyon University to a WAC conference title by winning the 100 and the 200, with times that make it clear you still got to go through him if you're trying to get to the NCAAs out of the West region. And to be honest with you, Jaden Guff Miller of South Dakota is a freshman who was never supposed to win the 100-meter dash, but he did in the Summit League Conference. But South Dakota was actually supposed to win that entire meet, and they didn't. North Dakota State took them out. They scored a whole bunch of points in the field, led by Cameron Landis in the throws, alongside their own star freshmen in the long jump and the 800. And Jamel Miller of Campbell University, and no, I'm not talking about the soup, made it clear that he is the best sprinter in the CAA. He won the 200 and the 400, with times that make it clear that he is a threat now to make the NCAAs in both. But it still wasn't enough to knock off Northeastern, who repeated as conference champions, winning by only 3 points. To keep it a buck with you, college track and field really doesn't get much of any media coverage, and when it does, it's really only the top conferences that you're going to hear about. But there are a whole bunch of men who were honestly never supposed to be this fast, who represent teams that you probably never heard of, who go off every single conference championship weekend. And all of them won't be able to win a national title, but for the athletes who do, you're going to have to go through them at the NCAA regional meet if you have a prayer of pulling it off. SCA track and field gear is here. Fast is a lifestyle, and what you wear should reflect that. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel, so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.